Welcome to the 2016 post-race show after night number 2 of the Budweiser Nationals. Special guest on the show tonight, track owner Scott Schweitzer. Man, we saw some phenomenal, and I mean absolutely phenomenal driving and racing tonight on a track that, we looked at last night when you were prepping and going, what's he doing with the track? I haven't seen anything like this before. And, man, you guys figured it out and gave these guys a great racetrack, and they put on probably the best Bud Nationals I've seen since I've been doing this show.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal 2 days. My oldest brother, Randy, actually does the track, and we've had a little situation in Turn 3 for a while, a little soft spot or a hole, so he's been working hard. He tightened it up quite a bit, and so that's why we were off a little bit Friday night. Not characteristic of what you guys normally see, but still a great bunch of racing, and we knew it would go dry slick like this, and it did, and produced great racing in every division.
Oh, man, we saw 3, 4, and even 5 wide tonight in multiple divisions. And that's almost a scary thing to watch them up here in the Mosier Tower because these guys are hauling the mail around this track.
Yeah, we definitely got a tight third mile here, and to see them cars, I seen it on the front straight from my booth, and we were getting up there 5 wide, and it was going to get crazy. But you know what? Every driver out here that pulled through that pit gate this weekend did a phenomenal job. Great racing, great. You guys, coming down and doing your deal was great, and staff did a great job, so another one in the books.
Speaking of your staff, we had cars go upside down this weekend. We had cars leaking stuff all over the place. We had noses go flying, tails go flying. Safety crew right there on point like no other. It was a great, welcomed, event right there to see those guys trained and ready to go.
We're talking, Scott, a little bit, right before this broadcast, over in your other tower over here, and that is the first thing I said to you is that, when we had you on Northwest Dirt News, we were talking about, we had a ton of emails, a ton of phone calls, talk about the fire. To us, that's old news, because right now the Budweiser Nationals is what we're doing and what we had. For what you did from that time, and we explained it to everybody else, is that it is nobody else's fault. The only person that is to blame, and you sat there and you said it yourself, I am the track owner. I am the promoter. It is my fault. I will make sure that will never happen again. From what we saw these last 2 days, me personally, 1,000% so much better. Your guys and stuff, when they were able to get on the track when the car stopped or whatever, we had the 25. I believe it was a
24.
The 24, was that an American stock?
Yeah.
Last night,
yeah. So American stock last night flipped over there in turn number 4. When they flipped, your guys were literally right on top of that. As soon as the car was still actually rocking, and your guys and stuff were at that car.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I did take full responsibility of that situation. We had a misfortune there, and we had a equipment failure. I corrected it. It is my track. I looked at the system, everything. We have seen places for improvement, did some training with the guys, and because I want people to know you're safe when you come to Bakersfield Speedway. I know social media was a bad deal. People were blowing it all up, and, I didn't get right on it because I wanted to see what took place, what I can repair. So when I made my statement, via the Billy's deal, and we corrected. I just want people to know we're playing by the books here. Safety is a huge thing by us, and sorry about that.
No, it's cool. I mean, if you need country music in the background to help you out, hey, hammer down. You're a very important person, and that's the thing too is that here at Moxie, we sat there knowing coming in. A lot of people and stuff, and we even heard it when we were down there in the pits, doing our walk around. It's like, hey, man. And it was not negative. That was 1,000%, and it wasn't. Nobody out there had anything negative to talk about the track, even on top of what happened. They loved it. I don't know what you do. I don't know how you pay. I don't know if you give candy in your checks when you send them out, or whatever the case is, or a thank you, a love letter, or something like that. Everybody that showed up here, over 200 and plus racers in 2 days. Telling you right now, Scott, you are the man here at Bakersfield Speedway.
Thank you. It means a lot. But I'll tell you what, about the whole fire deal, the coolest part about it, or, not coolest part, but the thing about it is other tracks looked at us, and if, it made me open my eyes, and we corrected some stuff, and if some other tracks in California and beyond made them look at their stuff too. So,
sure.
The whole deal is it's an entertainment business, and we need those drivers, and they're putting on the show, but we got to make sure they're safe. And
you've done a great job of that. I mean, you absolutely done a phenomenal job. I want to talk about the Bud Nationals because
Dude.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's
this-
get into it.
Wait, hold on. Before you do that, I want to correct something that Mr. Scott said on our broadcast last Wednesday before we flew out here. You talking about only 2,500 people sit in your stands? You must have, and I'm not going to sit there. You must have been pre-drinking the Budweiser because I'm telling you, tonight, Friday night, it was a packed house. It wasn't as packed as tonight. Literally, it was a sold-out house. I'm telling you right now, the 9,000 people we talked about, you made close to probably 6,500 fans in the stands.
It was
this
unbelievable.
place is retarded big. Are you kidding me?
Well, I couldn't agree with you. Then I'd have everybody, trying to break into my house. I took all them dollars home. But no, and I appreciate that. Yeah, this event, it stands for itself. Creates its own momentum. People know the Bud Nationals. I'm sitting in my booth seeing people walk by here that I only see them once a year at the Bud Nationals
Right.
because they know about this event. They know what kind of racers we're going to get and the kind of show that goes on. So people come out to see it.
You
Yeah, they
guys
do.
bring in, truly do bring in the top talent in your region. The state of California converges on this place when it comes to talented race car drivers. And I want to tell you, during the Budweiser National this year, I when we weren't on the mic, I made a point to walk around the racetrack and look at the races from different views. You've got something going on here where you can actually sit up in this little I don't know if it's a VIP guest up in turn 3.
Yeah, what is that
I
thing?
was up there watching the races, and I'm watching these cars
We watched
come
the pro stocks
straight
up there.
at me, 3 wide into the corner, and no one's lifting. I'm thinking, man, this is probably the coolest view in the entire place.
See, that thing is sick. If people don't sit there and take an aerial photo of this and see how you set up your grandstands, I'm telling you, you're missing out.
There is not a bad view. There truly is not a bad view here at Bakersfield Speedway. It's a great facility. The clay. That's something I want to talk about. Let's kind of hit on that.
Yeah.
What the heck is that
Let me
stuff?
tell you how that generated first when that viewing section.
That is
over there.
cool. That is cool.
What that is when I purchased the track, my kids were young. I got 3 kids, and they were young, and my wife wanted a place where she could take the kids and not have to come up into the grandstands and get with me and stuff. So we had it's called the Sugar Shack over there, and I just, coming from the construction industry, I'm like, man, I can build a deck right here, and then she can be right here close to the office, and that's what we did, and it's a fantastic addition to the facility.
Pretty sweet spot, the old Sugar Shack.
What I was thinking it was, or whatever, real quick, is that I figured it was the people that you didn't really like very well, because you go over there and literally, and if you sit in the right spot, especially at the modifieds and late models, wherever they get on the top cushion, where that cushion is literally up next to the wall, yeah, you get something in your drink real quick.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You'll get Bakersfield sprinkles up in your drink. when you go to-
Bakersfield sprinkles, I like it.
The Sugar Shack, the reason it's the Sugar Shack is right below. They sell ices and snow cones.
Whoa.
It's
Why
a
am I
perfect-
just now finding this out?
Because you missed out. It wasn't hot enough. It was only 100 degrees out here.
Yeah, no
When it
kidding.
gets above 105, then he starts bringing out the snow cones.
Yeah, we sell the heck out of snow
I
cones
can
down there.
see
and
why.
25-cent candy. It's a place for the kids. You bring your family to the Speedway. Parents come watch the kids stay at the Sugar Shack. It's a
That is
great
cool.
thing. Yeah.
That is cool. This surface, this
Okay.
clay. What is that stuff? I'm excited. We've been all over the country.
It's
and
the weirdest thing I've ever
It's
seen.
one of
Bakersfield
the-
blood, sweat, and tears, man.
It's
That's
one
what
of-
that is.
It's one of the most unique racing surfaces I've ever seen anywhere. Because the clay, it's a black clay. Let's talk about that and where do you get it?
Actually, the family business, we're in earthwork and paving. That's where we started. And I was fortunate my father knew a lot of farmers towards the base of the Grapevine. And when I bought the racetrack, I just like, Dad, I need some clay. And he hooked it up, and it comes out of the Old River area. We get it out of the farmers out there. When they water their fields, it leaches into their ditches, their irrigation ditches. So every 2-3 years they dig it out, and what they do is they throw it on the roads, and then they just grade it, and eventually the roads just keep building up because it's slimy clay and nobody wants it and they can't use it. So we go in there and I got my own bottom dumps, and I got some great racers out here, Wayne Dotson, Spain Howard. They're in the trucking business, and they help us out, and we take our loaders out there and scoop it up and haul it out here. Then when it gets here, then from Bakersfield and being in the farming industry, we got a great guy in Bakersfield called Ed Davis, Dr. Dirt. That's what his name is. You call Dr. Dirt, and I'm telling you what, the guy's an ergonomist, I think is what he calls it.
That's like Bill Arnold up there at Willamette Speedway years ago.
What he does for a living is he tests dirt to get farmers to get their fields to produce better crops. The guy's phenomenal with clay. He comes out and he takes a couple of samples. Takes him about 2 weeks, and he comes back, and we sat in our office and talked and told me what I needed, and then I went. We put a lot of stuff in that deal. A lot of organics to hold water and a lot of different things.
And it's truly and I'm not kidding you. It is the strangest surface I've ever seen on any racetrack anywhere that I've been in America. And you look at it. I mean, even standing here, sitting up here in the Mike Mosier Tower, looking down on the track now with the light shining on it, it almost looks greasy, wet. It is so shiny and black. Then you get down on the track and you're looking at it, you're going, wait a second. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of traction left in this track. It's very deceiving for even an experienced race fan to sit there and look at that to look at the track and see the gloss and the glaze, and automatically you're thinking, man, that track is slick. You get down on there as you walk down to Victory Lane to talk to some of these drivers, and that track is, I mean, that is cool because it's got a lot more traction than the ICs.
So go ahead.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's still sticky, and that's what it is. And again, Ed Davis was key to that, and I take that stuff to heart coming from earth moving industry, and I love that part of it. And we put some gypsum in it and put some all kinds of different things. Our problem here is our water that we get to put on has got a lot of calcium in it, so it creates a crust on the surface. So we combat that with putting stuff in it to not do that.
So you talk about put a glaze or put your secret ingredients in this track. This track makes for racing the way racing should be. It builds side-by-side racing. It builds 4-wide racing. Five wide. We saw in the modifieds 5 wide for nearly 3 laps coming out of turn number 4 down the front stretch.
Insane.
I've never seen that. I mean, I've seen some crazy things, and I've seen some parade laps where they go 4 abreast and sit there and salute, the fans. I'm telling you right now, this is crazy. So the weirdest thing too is you look at it, and from night 1 to night 2, we were talking about how before we came down, I got a little bit of education talking about it's going to be real tacky, real fast and stuff on night 1. Kind of a little bit different. It actually slicked off towards the main events, and then it got slower.
Caught a lot of guys off guard.
It did. It caught Superman Colin Weinberger from our area. I mean, he came down, he had his setup, and he says, man, I totally bypassed it. Mm-hmm. But you look at it and stuff now is that you had a distinctive spot. If somebody ran somewhere and you saw he was fast, the whole field moved down. Or if somebody moved to the top and he was fast, the whole field moved to the top.
That is true.
I've never seen that before. I've never seen the freight train. Literally, it was like watching a snake go through, especially when they got into lap traffic. That's where it got interesting.
Yeah, I think last night in the modified main, Ethan Dotson was leading, and he was on the bottom.
Yeah.
Which, notorious on our weekly shows, they're on the bottom quite a bit. And a couple of guys jumped up top and showed him a nose, and then we went yellow, then he went right up there.
Right to the top.
Because he showed him. And that's a big thing that people talk about Bakersfield is it's tough to lead because you don't know where everybody out is searching behind you, which, they do that at every racetrack. Right. But, they really talk about it, after racing here.
Well, you talk about Bobby Hogue. Multiple 72,000 wins here at Bakersfield. I still believe, we were talking about giving him that key or whatever. I'm sure he's going to be back here on Thursday night practicing on what the track looks like. But that man is extremely fast. But for the first 5 laps, he was literally a full straightaway lead. Then you had Sanders. Caution comes out. Drake that came up in the 11 car, and he's like, hey, check us out, boy. I got you. I know where you're at. And then they started battling. He'd never started actually really pulling away from the rest of that field. That, to me, is some incredible racing here.
And the interesting thing about watching the feature, as fast as Drake and Hogue were up front, looking at the speed charts, the fastest cars on the track were in 4th and 5th spot. They were Jeremy Shank and Tony Toast.
And Tony Toast, and then I knew one T.
Yeah, that's interesting stuff. I mean, we had a pack of like 5 guys that got out there.
Right.
But the whole rest of the field was all bunched up. So it was an interesting race.
Yeah. So watching the whole weekend here at the Budweiser Nationals, the 31st annual 2016 edition, were any surprises that surprised you? You're the track owner. You've seen the racing here for the last, you've been the owner 15 years
17
now?
years, hasn't it been?
17 years.
This is my 14th season.
14th.
Just finished up my 14th.
So we're going to go ahead and say it 32 years.
So was there
good.
any surprises to you or something that kind of like sparked, like, hey, wow, check that out?
You know what? Friday night's track conditions. I mean, absolutely. I mean, notoriously, it's a little bit wetter than it was. So, and then after the night last night, usually my brother gets out there and grades it and works on it. He just shot some water on it, poked some holes in it with the sheep's foot, and just said, I'm just going to let it soften up a little bit because it was tight. So
Well, and the track prep last night was immediately at the checkered flag flew interview.